creating and running programs. Now let us understand how to write a program, how to check whether whatever we have written, they are properly written according to the standards of C programming language, and let us also see we are getting exact output according to our input or not. So there are some very important steps which need to be followed whenever we need to create and run a program. The first and foremost step in writing a program is we need to identify what is an editor we are using and what are the things which that editor consists of and how we need to write a program in an editor. Okay, the first and foremost step is writing and editing a program. The second one is compiling a program. The third one is linking a program, and the fourth one is executing a program. So the first one is whenever we want to write any program, we need to take an editor. It may be a VI editor, Nano editor, or any editors, Notepad or anything. The only thing we need to remember here is the code whatever we are going to write in an editor, whenever the code writing process is being done, we need to save it with .c as an extension, with which your compiler can identify the file with its extension. So every file in the system has its own extension to identify. Let's take some examples of file systems, like a file name which ends with .jpeg. So we can easily identify that this is a image. A file name ending with .doc, we can easily recognize that it is a document file. A file name ending with .mp3, it is an audio file. A file name ending with .ppt, it is a PowerPoint presentation file. So each and every file is recognized by an extension. Okay. Similarly, our C programming has an extension of .c, and whenever we go for the higher programming languages like C++, you need to save the file name with .cpp as an extension. Whenever you are working with Java, we need to write it as program name followed by .java. Okay, these are some of the extensions. Whenever you are writing your code, please write a proper extension so that your compiler can recognize the standards or the syntax or semantics or the rules which are framed according to that programming language. Right? The next step is, as soon as we write the code, we need to check whether there are some errors in the code or whether everything is been properly written. Okay, that step we are going to call it as compilation. Compiling the source code. Once we compile and we find that there are no errors, a program is an error-free program, then we can go for the execution part. So in the compilation process, there is also a linking of libraries which are present in the code. Once the code is been linked with the libraries or the header files, then we are going to see an appropriate output in the executing phase. So in a given creating and running programs steps, the very important 4 steps we need to follow are: the first one is writing and editing program, the second one is compiling a program, and the third one is linking a program, the fourth one is executing a program. Now let us see this diagram. We shall understand how a user is going to write a code in a text editor, or it may be a nano editor or VA editor, or it may be any IDEs. Once we write this source code in the editor, the next immediate step is we need to compile the code. When the user is compiling the code, then there are two things which are created internally when the code is being successfully created without errors. The first one is we are going to see an object code, and the second one is we are going to see the executable code. Object code is something which it is used for different machines to execute this code, and this object code is linked with the linker phase. Within the linker we have the different libraries by which your code is being converted into an executable code. So what are all the things which we have in the libraries are? They are header files. Like in our C program, we start with an header files. Like there are different header files which we will be going to cover in the structure of C program. Next, within the executable part, the .exe files are being given to the end user with an output. That specific output is nothing but it's a result. This result is displayed on the desktop. Input is given by the input devices, internal processing is done by your compiler phase, and the execution part, executed output, you're going to see it on the monitor. So these are the different steps where your program is created and executed properly. So can you just see this particular diagram and just remember it, understand the different phases, and try to recollect how we need to write and execute the steps.